Good afternoon. Welcome to Options Tender. It is Monday. Exciting, bullish Monday. Welcome, everybody. They're trying to shake me out. You know, I've been bearish. We're going to trade both ways, but I just haven't been invalidated yet. Such a big move on Friday and follow through today. So it feels like you might think I'm crazy, but I really, the whole thesis on Fed tightening and things like that are keeping me in this bearish type camp. I do have alternative counts, and I do think that there's a possibility that this can go higher, but I need to see this triangle invalidated before I make any big moves. Okay, so what we're going to do is just check out SPX on the daily, look at the Elliott wave count, and then check out some of the big tech stocks going into earnings. And I'm really not too concerned with earnings. I think the market is much more critical or sensitive to the economic data that we have coming up. And you know, I didn't think we'd make this next move, but I did leave some room for error. So here we go. We have SPX on the daily. You see we're clearly in a downtrend. Some say we're breaking out. I'm seeing that over our FinTwit, but I've had this same line here. What's happening is, well, we'll definitely see where we close, but when we go through this downtrend, what we're considering, just like the other videos that we've been talking about, we've been highlighting this move as being complete. And I think I think this is a balance of this large move that happened, you know, almost a year. So we're trying to balance that out in time rather than price. So once this move happened, all of these massive moves we're just coming down to a pinnacle, really, just coming to a point, an apex. And I'm really liking this triangle, especially after this move today. I thought we would have stopped here, which that's what we gave. But if you're looking at this with a ABC move here, and then an ABC move down, and you can look at it this a couple different ways: a 5-3-5, a zigzag 5-3-5, yeah. And then this one as well. We were counting this as a either a flat or a zigzag. Either way, 3-wave move. And this one was, you know, a little bit more suspect, but we had 5 waves counted, and then we tried to add this as a 4 and a 5, but really this counts as a 3-wave as well. And then we had our 3-wave move here where we completed, thought we might have had a 1-2 setup here and completed the triangle, but we had one more move, and that also is a 1-2 3-wave move. And so all this is telling me, as we back out and we look at the indicators here, we're just in a sideways triangle. Here with RSI, after this big move, I would have suspected we were breaking out of this triangle, but we're still right at that downtrend. And that's all that's really saying to me. And we're going to add in the NASDAQ as well. But let's go ahead and check out the Elliott wave count here. And as we get closer, we just took off the 1 and 2 for this A and B, but this move is done. And now we're in the B wave. B waves are such a pain in the ass. We have, so in this B wave, we have A, B, C, D, and E. And that would complete our wave, our B wave at this point. So we need to see what kind of either rejection or follow through we get from the 786. We do have a little bit of room for movement, but along with that downtrend line that we used from this back in the other that you saw, we're right at that downtrend line kind of the benefit of the doubt one that I had from here, from the top of the triangle. So we're right back at the top of the triangle again. And I think this is going to hold. I think it should be obvious if it doesn't. We'll just continue to creep through and follow through from there. And then I have an alternate count for that as well. And that simply is that this is the first corrective move for an A, B, and a 5-wave move up for C. This being a 1, 2, and we'd see some follow through as a 3, 4, 5. So we have to get over that triangle. You know, it feels like we're breaking out right now, but I just don't see it. And let's move over to, I think I put it on the NASDAQ futures. Let's change this board here. Trend is our friend. Okay, we have this downtrend line all the way from the top, a downtrend line, and we haven't reached that point yet, and that goes along with the 200-day moving average, and so that would give us a little bit more room on the NASDAQ end. Also a little bit of resistance up here, but notice that I drew this new line just for the triangle. You know, just like the SPX, the triangle is actually above the downtrend line, but in this case, it's actually right below the downtrend line. So this would be, again, an A, B, C, D, and E. And that would complete at the top of the triangle. Maybe we get a little bit of poke through, but I wouldn't suspect that we'd close. You know, we'd really have to close above this downtrend line for me to say that's negated. But if we're pushing much further in the NASDAQ than the other the small caps and the Dow shouldn't really move much, which would keep the SPX in place where it is. So, you know, that's I know it seems like I'm grasping for straws, but we just didn't convincingly take out this balance. I consider this all a balance. And this was a massive downtrend move where we're trending, we're balancing, and we need to continue a move, another trend that might be as equal or more of a distance than this first move. And then the other would we need to correct more, and we have this count wrong, and we need to correct more in price. But either way, they're slowing down the economy. Things are coming to a halt. Even if they pivot, nothing's going to change to a fact that that this market has more downside to go. You just don't lower interest rates after you grind down the economy and think things are just going to be a-okay. There is no soft landing. I don't believe in any soft landing. So let's go ahead and zoom through a couple. Excuse me. I do believe that Apple is going to test this downtrend. We have a gap here as well. I don't have this counted kind of the same way. This is more of a ABC and then a correction and then an A, B, and we have some sort of C here. So this downtrend would really have to hold right here. This downtrend would have to hold for me to stay bearish on Apple. And if you notice, if this is an A, and we had a triangle here for B, that counted out perfect as a triangle. So I know that looks messy. And then we have a impulsive 1 and back for 2. And then we'd have a 3, 4, 5 headed downward. And there's a way to draw this in. I know that some people had it drawn in from down here, and we're back testing right now from a pivot, but I'm not into that one too much, but I've seen it. Amazon, excuse me, guys. My throat. Amazon, kind of just getting in its own way. I would have expected this to move a little bit higher, but I'm kind of thinking right now that we're almost in the same situation as Apple, or this could be a flat here, A, B, C, a running flat to where we could go lower. But I'm really trying to see if we convincingly break out from this point It just looks like we're trying to and just nothing's really happening from there. But we came up to it quick, I'll tell you that. It was a nice move on Amazon last week. Meta has just been killing me. I got stopped out again today. This one has room to run. I mean, it just does. Has room to run, but what I was expecting after this, it looks like a nice impulsive 5-wave move down, would be a correction, an A, and then a B, a C for a zigzag, or some sort of other correction in this B wave, and then a 5-wave move down. Again, all right, I know that sounds like a lot, but that's what I'm looking for. This is impulsive. It appears to be, and thus we have our count wrong. And then even then, we're at least looking for, if this is a wave 1 to start off a new trend, then we're looking for some sort of pullback in order to jump in. Google, somewhat same thing, held its long-term trend line, and we're just above this downtrend line here. So if we need to move further, that's possible. This could be just a flat for a correction. So we're looking at this we're at resistance right now. This doesn't have to be some sort of triangle just because everything else is. This could be after its move, just an A, B, C right into resistance. So we're going to see how that resistance holds out. Microsoft, of course, with earnings coming up. We're not going to pay too much attention with this being the first one, but this does look like it could have a nice move to the upside. It held on, and let's see what happens. It might gap up and then start moving with the market afterwards. But I do believe we had our our move down to here. Perhaps this is the 1 or A, B, and then we're starting with a 1, 2 or an A, B, and now same thing with like Apple, to where we have this impulsive 1, and then we're just pulling back for 2, and we'll see continuation to the downside. So I continue to, there's clear bearish count still, but at the same time, there's a lot of bullish action, a lot of bullish sentiment saying, hey, this correction's over. When, if you look at the big side of things, we really hit such an inflection point on the long term that I think we still have more to go, but it's okay. It's not what I think. It's what we trade. That's how we make money. Tesla, same thing. We had our move down here. I'm just not sure this moves over. We're at the resistance with the trend line here, so we got to keep an eye on that. NVIDIA had a massive move, but a wonderful correction here, and I got my face ripped off on this one. But we're right at the downtrend line, confluence with a head and shoulders neckline, if you will, if it decides to break out. Also a rising pivot. So a lot of stuff happening here, and we also look like we have our waves in here as well. So even if this is a I would count this as a 5-3-5, and then the correction's over and start heading down. But you can I guess you can start to build a case for this being an impulsive 1, and then some sort of 2, maybe a flat, maybe a running flat, or some sort of correction here to where this maybe a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then start heading higher, which that as soon as we get over this neckline in this downtrend, that would be a wonderful move. But you just don't take a long position right into this sort of confluence. Okay. There's other things to look at. We still have skew, we have the dollar. We've just been triangulating in this, and we held the bottom of the VIX. So the VIX is pulling back a little bit, but it's in a nice wedge to where it possibly could start breaking out to reach the other side of the triangle again, and that would bring us down pretty far in the market. And there's the dollar. the dollar is, it's underneath that confluence I was talking about, but we're still in a wedge where we just touched the bottom of the wedge. We have bullish divergence. We have a lot of things going on here. So that's something that may start to correct to the upside, and I do think it might head lower. But I think with the dollar moving up, I think a lot of people get worried again. And all in all, let me just recap that the SPX, we just expect it to hold. We expect it to hold that downtrend line and this 40.27. There's wiggle room for it to spike through, but the 40.27 area and that downtrend line from the triangle top, we expect that to hold. If not, then we really have to give it some room to move further to probably 4,300 or so, if if we're looking at the correction. But if we start getting above this, then we're going to have one bearish scenario, but we're going to have to put in all of our bullish scenarios to where we get a little bit more bullish on the market, and think with caution, thinking that our thesis hasn't changed, but we'd have to play it to the upside with the momentum. Okay, so other than that, it's we're still in the sideways. And you guys, sorry for to rant on. 16-minute video. Thanks for yeah, I forgot my whole spiel. Don't forget to hit the like button. Go down to that bottom right hand corner, hit that options tender logo, and subscribe. Thanks for listening, and I hope this all helps, especially if you have been a little discouraged from the movement, if you're bearish. But just be aware that this may be the last point of bearishness for a little bit if it gets above here. Okay, all right. Thanks for joining us here at Options Center. Have a wonderful day.